Infrastructure is crumbling and the problems are only getting worse. The pressure to find solutions is hot. Let's talk about why American cities have no water, no electricity, and no money to fix their infrastructure problems. Welcome to the Infrastructure Hot Seat Podcast, hosted by Chad Smeltzer.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Infrastructure Hot Seat. Today is episode 6, where we interview David Trejo, who is a project engineer with Garver, USA.com. David's experience has been started in the military. He was in the United States Marine Corps for over 7 years. Looks like he worked on FEMA, and he graduated from the University of Texas at Arlington with a Bachelor of Science and Civil Engineering degree. He was a graduate engineer at RGN Group, project manager at Pure Technologies, and also has vast experience as a project engineer with RGM Group as well. Now is the full-time project manager at Garver. So we are excited to talk to David with his vast experience in the military and now into sewer condition assessment. And he's bringing technologies to Garver so that they can help municipalities improve the way we do condition assessment and evaluations of infrastructure. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great day. Hi, everyone. My name is Chad Smeltzer, and I'm the CEO and founder of BigHumor.com, also the podcast host for the Infrastructure Hot Seat. And today I bring a special guest from Garver, USA, who's an engineer, has been in the industry a long time. David Trejo, thank you for coming on our podcast. We would love to, learn more about you and give yourself a little introduction.
Hi, Chad. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the time, and I look forward to the chat.
Yeah. So how long have you been an engineer?
Been an engineer a little over 10 years now. I went to the University of Texas at Arlington, here in Arlington, Texas, in the North Texas area.
Nice.
Started off as an intern back in 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Started off doing CCTV review, and that's
the worst job ever.
Yeah, that's how the career got started.
Oh, nobody wants to do that. Now it's automated. Thank goodness, like different technologies that's out there, that's all automated.
Yeah, definitely a lot of things have changed over the past decade, for sure.
So what made you want to stay as going into that engineering world? You became an intern, which is probably the worst, looking at videos, and you stuck it out.
Yeah. Well, I never envisioned myself being in this industry. Never really understood or knew or was aware that this discipline was included in civil engineering. If I could go back a little bit further, right out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps and was a part of an engineering company.
Awesome. Thanks for serving, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for your support. And it was definitely a lot of good times. And so I was voluntold, is how they say it in the military when somebody volunteers you. And I was voluntold to, I was voluntold to take on an MOS military job or specialty, and that's called land drafting and surveying, DNS.
Okay.
So I went to a special school to get trained for that, and I had no idea I had never seen a surveyor before ever, and never messed around with AutoCAD. And so that was kind of my introduction to this world. And so as I was ending my career in the military, I was considering going to school, and I was considering being a civil engineer.
Yeah.
So I envisioned myself working on flight lines and airports, being more in the transportation world of civil engineering, because that was basically what I did throughout the military as a surveyor and draftsman. Did a lot of land surveys for helicopter landing pads, arresting gear on flight lines, and just so a lot of that type of stuff. And so that's what I envisioned my career going into as a civil engineer. And as I mentioned, I began an internship watching CCTV videos of sanitary sewer pipe inspections back in 2010, 2011. And so that I had no idea. And so that's, I think I crack it. I often crack the joke saying that it takes a special breed to work in the sewer industry. And I guess I'm one of them because I grew to like it. And And I've been doing this type of stuff for a while now, for over the past decade. So
right.
After graduating, I took on a position full time with that company, and so instead of CCTV review, I was diving manholes.
Oh.
So then I really was stepping in it for sure.
Literally in it.
Yeah,
no doubt. Wow.
But being fresh out of the military and younger, definitely like the risk and the danger that comes along with confined space entry and doing that type of stuff. So it was it was kind of a no-brainer. I never really second guessed it, so I just went in and did it. So everything from structural inspections to meter installations, other types of structural evaluations on underground infrastructure. That's I was all about it.
That's awesome, man. That's a great it's a great career choice now. Now where you're at.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So when you were in the military and you started to learn more about surveying, design, stuff like that, what was your first, you became an intern, you watched the videos and stuff like that. Did you do anything outside of sewers, or you just jump right into sewers? Sounds like you jumped right into it.
No, just right into sewers.
Right into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Well, what really, one thing that I've learned is that the people, the culture of the companies definitely make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the key factors as to why I stayed doing that type of work. Really got along well with the people, the culture of the company where I was at the time. I think was the big
That's
difference.
Awesome.
That was a big factor as to why I didn't look anywhere else.
Right. So you learned a lot, and then you obviously, nowadays, kind of jumping into segue with the way careers are and finding people to do this job. Well, I mean, how do you think we should be looking for skilled labor like yourself now? I mean, it's a big deal. Trying to find someone to like rehabilitate a manhole or even get into a manhole, it's almost impossible. What do you think we should be doing now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question because
it's a trick question.
It's been a struggle for real for over the past recent years.
Yeah,
trying to fill in even entry-level positions, engineer positions, has become very difficult. And I was working at a firm that is very field-oriented. Field services is a part of their bread and butter, and turnover is very high.
Yeah,
trying to find people that can enjoy their work and really put the effort in to do good quality work has been difficult.
Yeah.
And all kind of, the past couple of years because of the pandemic and all these other types of other factors in our society now, it's just made it really difficult. And I talked to other colleagues and in other parts of this water infrastructure industry, and they're struggling with the same as well. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely it's been tough, but I think that's where technologies that you're very well aware of, like the automating a lot of the data processing and stuff like that, is going to be a key factor. It's going to be definitely critical.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're going to see a lot of automation. That's one thing I tell a lot of public works employees when I talk to them. I'm like, look, you guys need to just do your jobs. Just stick with it. Do it correctly, because I think this industry, and then we'll jump into infrastructure. This industry and infrastructure has been so archaic. It's so fragmented. Now we're getting into this digital world where now things are changing to automation and software. What's your take on like where we're at now with infrastructure and technology?
Yeah, well, I think we're making some pretty good strides there. We're making some pretty good advancements. I mean, 10 years ago, when I was reviewing TV and doing confined space entry, we were doing everything using paper forms. And, this type of work in the sewer industry has been around for a while. Confined space entry is not new. And so to think that just a decade ago, they were still using paper forms, I can't imagine it being too different 20 or 30 years before that. Maybe some of the tools like tripods and winches and stuff like that, maybe some of the PPE have changed a little bit, but I can't imagine the methods and maybe some of the more seasoned staff that have been there for that long could probably elaborate more on that. But just 10 years ago, I was still using paper forms, having to struggle with the wind blowing the sheets away and into the manhole, and it gets all kinds of stains from what in the water.
Oh yeah,
it's just nasty having to deal with that hassle, the weather, coming up with creative ways to keep your binders organized and use these little clear dividers to protect your those sheet protectors, right? And so I don't even take a pen and paper in the field anymore, just because we have the capability of collecting data digitally. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I'm just kind of stuck on that 10 years ago, which doesn't seem, I don't know, kind of does seem a long time ago, but not really.
I was going to say like 3-4 years ago. It's still like, there's a lot of places that still use paper. That's always been my struggle. I'm like, even in procurement for infrastructure, that space I'm in, we were still mailing documents back and forth through the Postal Service until COVID hit. COVID changed a lot of the game with that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we still using paper and not e-procurement, like as a way of sending documents back and forth? And inventory is a hot mess too. That's still an issue with just being paper-based. But so tell me a little bit more about your military. I want to go back into your military. What was the scariest moment? You had to have a scary moment, man. You had to have some moment where it was just like pucker factor, so to speak.
Yeah. yeah, definitely. So, fortunately, when by the time I got to Iraq, a lot of the craziness was kind of simmering down a little bit, but definitely was able to be a part of convoys that required us to be in the middle of the people there, the locals. And so just always having that in the back of your mind that you can't really trust who's around you. So when people are getting so close to you, that's pretty nerve-wracking. I remember being on a mission where we were providing. So even though I was a draftsman and surveyor, I still was involved with security patrols and stuff like that. Right. And so I was a part of a security team. We provided security for an Army Psych Ops group, and where their mission or their intent was to change the heart and minds of the local community there. Yeah. So we were providing security for them, and so a part of that was being in the middle of town, walking down the streets, talking with people, meeting with the local leaders there and stuff like that. And so that was always nerve-wracking because kids would show up and some of the older kids or kind of young men would show up, and you just never know if they have anything literally up their sleeve, right? And so no doubt, situations like that were always nerve-wracking. And then you had a lot of I guess allied forces or allied security teams that you were supposed to be working with, and the language barrier definitely was a thing. And so you can start hearing them get aggressive with you, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's something about to go down here. Right. So they're probably just swearing up and down at you, but so those moments were nerve-wracking. Those are the ones that really stick out to me the most. Other than that, early on in the deployment, the unit I was with had an issue with IEDs, improvised explosive devices. Yeah. But typically the way the units would deploy is that you deploy in sticks or groups. And so I was at a later group that arrived after that whole mess. And so, as a Marine, you want to be there, especially with your team. So, I'll say, unfortunately, I wasn't there to be with the guys, but I guess on the other side, fortunately, I wasn't involved with that. So outside of that, it was pretty tame, at least my time in Iraq. And other than just those scenarios I was describing, where we'd have to go into town in the middle of all the locals.
Only imagine, man. Yeah. Had to be crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely, just recently I was looking back at some photos where we were distributing toys and candies and stuff like that. And there's all these all these kids that are just crowded. And I got a photo where basically it captures all the kids like reaching out and they're running up to me.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty good shot,
That's awesome.
But definitely it was pretty good. Pretty good feeling, just kind of being able to see how, you were able to really make at least a little bit of an impact in people's lives, by sharing or providing, basic medicines, basic needs like foods, tools, and stuff like that. It was a part of the mission for the psych ops team. And so, even though we were security, we're definitely a part of that.
Right. How is the infrastructure on those military bases? Just curious.
Yeah. It's a good question. I was pretty young at that time, so I never really bothered to look at that.
Attention. Yeah. Until now. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I think back to it now, and, definitely as far as the Marine Corps is concerned, the Marine Corps is, is made to be an expeditious team. They're in and they're out. And so they have tools and resources that are very modular, very mobile, quick to set up and quick to break down. And so I remember the water bladders that were used to provide water for the campsites and stuff like that, for showers and drinking and stuff like that. There's a bunch of these blow up inflatable bladders.
Wow.
And so I remember just being a part of that just to help set everything up. And then there'd be a special team that'd be in charge of the pumping units and making sure that all the water is in the right places and stuff like that. So those were kind of more of the field type of setups. And then in garrison, at least in overseas, I just don't remember. What I remember were the porta potties, and those were just horrible.
Oh,
yeah,
that's the worst, man. Just porta potties, and in general, just anybody going into those things.
Yeah.
They.
But I wish I would have paid more attention to it, but I didn't. I had no idea I was getting.
Yeah, you were just
into this world. Yeah,
worried about survival. I would assume at that point. I mean, I would be. So no, that makes sense. So now you've obviously taken different roles in the United States when you got from Iraq and stuff, and you went through that internship, and you're now focused. What are you focused on now with your current position that you're in?
Yeah, so I am a project manager here at Garver, and my focus is to help grow the infrastructure, our infrastructure assessment program here at Garver, and so mainly focusing on assessments, condition assessments, more specifically on pressure pipe condition assessments. And so,
got it.
Even though my career started off on the sewer side of things, eventually I branched off and took another position at a different company that was also a field service provider, and they specialize on pressure pipe condition assessments. And so that's where, and that was probably about 5-6 years ago now.
Okay.
And that definitely introduced me to a different side of underground infrastructure. It's not as simple as just, with sewer inspections, you can go out, pop some lids, drop some cameras down in the hole.
Right.
And there's some cleaning, and it's not an easy job. It's not by any means, but definitely there's more planning involved when it comes to pressure pipe assessments. I've been on that side of where I get to see the results of insufficient or improper planning, and it's not that it's not to say that the efforts were malicious or I don't want to say negligent either, but it's just kind of not having, I guess, the right view of it. And so you have crews that get mobilized, and you go out into the field, and next thing you know, there's still water in the pipe, but you need it to be completely empty.
Oh.
And well, how long is it going to take to get it empty? Well, probably another 2 or 3 days. What?
Oh, wow.
That type of thing, right? So
that'll kill a project.
Oh yeah. We've got to send crews in the pipe for manned entry, and the line isn't completely isolated correctly. It's not isolated completely, and you've got valves that aren't seated properly, and you still have water coming in, and it's these are big pipes, and so it's not a very safe environment to send people in.
Right.
And,
super dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. It's very dangerous, and that's where, running into those types of fumbles, at the time, man, it was just rough. It really was heartburn.
Yeah.
And especially having to go and tell, your clients like, hey, we're running into this issue, or, hey, this is what's going on. And having to be the bearer of bad news and having to respond to tough questions was a tough thing. And man, I just, I was like, man, there's got to be a better way.
Right.
Well, I think, one of my main goals personally is to push careful and thorough planning. These condition assessments are definitely necessary and they're important.
Right.
You got to have them. And so many times I hear that, municipalities get these bad tastes in their mouth because of these bad experiences. And so they get gun shy and they try to go away to a different direction. Or maybe they just want to just not do anything.
Right.
Because it's such a hassle. It can be so expensive just to get an inspection completed. Well, my thing is to implement careful and thorough planning to make sure that the expectations are set from the very beginning. The expectations of how much it's going to cost, what this timeline could potentially look like. What are your options as far as technologies are concerned? There's over the past 20 years and plus some, technologies have been, your options for technologies have grown so much over the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
There's still a couple of technology providers that are like the key leaders in certain areas of the inspection world, but definitely other technology providers have been able to come up with solutions and they're able to be a little bit more reasonable in pricing as well. And so, it's still, you're still inspecting pressurized pipelines that you can't just go and pop a lid open. So that's still there. Right?
Is there any manhole access to any of those pressure pipes? I know from my previous experience, a lot of the cities didn't have access to the pressure pipes from like the pump stations and stuff. They had 2,000 feet of just pipe with no access. I'm like, why did we not plan that according to that? What do you said something really funny about planning. It's like fail to plan to fail. That's like a real thing. Like it happens. It's going to mess up your projects for sure. But is that the case? Like there's not a lot of access to, is that one of the other issues?
Yeah. That's a very common thing. Now I've run into 1 or 2 utilities that have, like pig launching, infrastructure. So, excuse me. So they have like the right setup to launch, a variety of tools into your pipeline, but that's not everywhere. It's not everybody. So the challenge is coming up with cost-effective ways to either to turn something that's already existing into an access point or to put a new one in. And so there's always challenges. And that's why, I really grew into the whole condition assessment world, because you're taking a look, or you're taking a dive into existing infrastructure with real problems,
right?
Like problems that are existing now and need to be addressed yesterday, type of thing,
right? So
there's that challenge, right? That kind of I find is a little bit of attractive, I guess. And so there's that challenge, and there's a problem that you need to solve, and so now you got to put your thinking cap on.
What has been, not to cut you off, but what has been one of your most challenging situations you've run into so far? Yeah, well,
let's see. I've got, I guess, a number of projects come to my mind, but the isolating a large diameter pipeline.
What size are we talking?
96 inches.
Yeah, that's a big pipe.
Yeah, it's a pretty big pipe. And ensuring that it was properly isolated to send crews down into the pipe. That was, and I think I mentioned that a little bit ago, but that's one of the first ones that comes to my mind is ended up having some downtime. It's just ensuring that the lockout tagout procedure was done correctly, and then even after it was done, as properly as you could do it, you realize that it's not enough. So what do you do?
Right.
That's one situation. Another is, having to work with a utility that has had some tough experiences in the previous experiences doing condition assessment, and trying to ensure that, hey, we can come up with a good solid plan to minimize risk of damaging your existing assets.
Yeah.
Because there have been cases and scenarios where trying to implement a condition assessment project just to get a tool into the pipeline, you're blowing up pipes, you're breaking valves, you're damaging all kinds of stuff, right? So
yeah.
I think that that's a big challenge. And another thing too is just you have teams that are knowledgeable about the infrastructure, and so they take planning lightly, and so
that's never good.
Yeah, and so you go out into the field and it doesn't exactly work the way it was expected to.
Oh, that's a whole
other conversation
you should have.
Yeah, so that's where I just go back to thorough planning. Okay, your assets, what's out there, and the last time you went there, it worked. Does it work now? And will it work the way we need it to work?
What? Yeah. What do you think? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but we got like 4 minutes left. What do you think about, you kind of hit on it, and real world, like book engineering, like coming out of school, you've gone through your engineering, got your degree. What do you think about the field experience, like reality versus book smarts? So like that's been a big thing in engineering. It's like contractors been in the field, and I'm sure there's a big fight. Like half the time is like, we can do it this way. No, we can't do it that way. I hear this all the time. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Oh yeah. I'd love to. So, definitely the field, having been in the field, definitely has been a big part of shaping how I see things now on the desktop side. Everything from planning and scheduling and budgeting and stuff like that to how we can implement and execute certain things, certain tasks. I think it's played a huge role. And as far as I don't consider myself very book smart. I passed with, I barely passed and barely graduated. Going up to walking across that stage, not having gotten my grades yet, I was so nervous for having to tell my family that I didn't graduate. So I'm not very book smart, but I think that having a basic understanding conceptually and theoretically of how things are supposed to work, pairing that with your field experience definitely is critical.
There's two different types of people. You get that field hands-on experience. You touched on that and what you have. And then you have the book smarts, like, we read it, we understand it on a, just different perspective of like how it's supposed to be done in, stages, right? Like this step 1, step 2, stuff like that, basically an instruction manual. But when you get in the real world, it's like, okay, well, that wasn't supposed to be there. There's a massive rock that's, you can't dig into, you can't get around. There's so many variables out there in the real, in the field versus like in a book that people don't even think about. So that's why you've obviously succeeded in that realm. And that's amazing to be able to take I call it street smart university kind of thing. It's like you learn on the ground, boots in, getting dirty. Yeah. So
I've always, considered myself a field guy at heart. I mean, I grew up working outdoors and was in the military. That was everything was outdoors. And then starting off my career, being out doing field assessments, being out in the woods, looking for that remote structure. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing the off-roading and the hiking and stuff like that.
Manholes and
stuff. I really liked it. I probably couldn't do much of it now.
Right.
In my mind I could, but probably in the middle of it, my body would be telling me to stop. But, I really, because of that, it's given me a big appreciation of field staff. I'm a big believer in listening to, getting some input and their feedback on what they're comfortable doing and, what their suggestions are, and then trying to combine that with what the primary goal is of the project and trying to see how you can develop a good plan using both inputs, both perspectives.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Look, I think it's amazing that you have come out of the field, in the military. Now you got engineering, you're running teams. Look, it's the best place to be. It's like you've learned so much moving up and all those experiences. It's a great thing, man. I totally respect you and love what you're doing at Garver. And I look forward to working with you some more down the road, because I think you provide a lot of value for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, you and I have chatted about a number of different technologies that are out there. And so
love tech. Yeah.
I think they have good fits in certain places. So
yeah,
trying to put together some plans so where we can make it work and
let's do it.
Some results out of it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man, to see where we connect and what works and what doesn't work. I love testing technologies out there, and makes our job a lot easier, makes us safer, those kind of things. Yeah. So whatever we can find, I will bring it to you for sure. So
yeah. I love it, and then the only way you can find out if anything works is to try it, right? And so
why not? Yeah.
The problem is, I guess, the funding is always the limiting factor, right? And so,
right.
How do we get someone to pay for? Because it's gotta be paid for somehow, right? And so how do you?
Now you're talking about procurement. That's a whole other conversation that we can talk about, budgeting and infrastructure and how we, useful life cycles. That's probably a whole nother conversation we need to have next time. But David, appreciate your time, man. It was awesome talking to you. Thank you for your insight on your history and your past and where you've come from. And I look forward to working with you in the future, man.
Yeah, same here. I appreciate the time. Thanks for inviting me and considering me as a guest. And
you're awesome. Yeah, let's do this.
Enjoyed the conversation.
All right, David. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Infrastructure Hot Seat podcast. We hope that this show brought you some insight on relevant topics within the infrastructure world. Please join us every 2 weeks on Tuesday for the next episode. If you're interested in being a guest on this podcast, please set up a 15-minute interview with your host at calendly.com/Chad Smeltzer.